Not on your iPad, though. Definitely not. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Let's begin it by having the pledge. And Michael, would you please lead us?
Yes, Madam Chair. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What a nice way to honor our country on the month of July. As you may notice, the board members that are here at the podium today at the dais are a little fewer than usual. So I would like to read Board Policy 2310 so that it's clear to everyone what's going on. The regular meetings of the board shall be held on the third Thursday or Friday of each month whenever possible. Regular meetings of the board shall normally be held at the College of the Desert Craven Student Services Center Multipurpose Room, 43500 Monterey Avenue, Palm Desert, California. A notice identifying the location, date, and time of each regular meeting of the board shall be posted on the college website at least 10 days prior to the meeting and shall remain posted until the day and time of the meeting. All regular meetings of the board shall be held within the boundaries of the district, except in cases where the board is meeting with another local agency or is meeting with its attorney to discuss pending litigation if the attorney's office is outside the district. Board member participation via teleconferencing is only permitted in an emergency situation. Emergency situation is defined by Administrative Procedure 2310, regular meetings of the board. All regular and special meetings of the board shall be open to the public and comply with the Brown Act provisions, except as required or permitted by law. My understanding of this policy says that our trustee Sanchez, who was unable to attend this meeting today, can attend by teleconferencing, and she is on the line. But although I generally run a very relaxed meeting, it becomes confusing when we're not all bodily present. So instead of just sort of having the casual conversation we do sometimes, I'm going to be a little more strict today on calling on the person that's speaking, but I want my fellow trustees to be sure that I am a person that responds to body language. So I often call on you, not because you raised your hand, but because you're looking at me and your body saying, it's my turn, it's my turn, it's my turn, okay? So, but I can't see Mary Jane today, so I ask you please to help me be sure that I call on everyone to discuss. So at this point, roll call, President Kinman?
Yes. Trustee O'Neill.
Present.
Trustee Sanchez.
Present.
Trustee Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Stefan is not going to be with us today. And Trustee Broughton.
Present.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Student trustee.
Oh, student trustee
Student
Eleanor Campbell.
trustee, will she be with us later in the day? Okay, thank you. The board meeting agenda pursuant to Government Code Section 54954.2B2, the board may take action on items of business not appearing on the posted agenda upon determination of 2/3 vote of the board, or, as today, a unanimous vote of those present. That there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of the local agency subsequent to the agenda being posted is specified. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda of July the 17th? I have one that's already listed, and there's a correction to the Consent Human Resources Item 2, Employment Group A appointments. The two faculty positions are restricted funding. Okay. So that's basically a clarification, but I want it to be pointed out that that is a change to the agenda.
And we have one other I'd like to add, if we may. It's Administrative Services Consent Item 11, Assignment Agreement between Desert Community College District and California Geotechnical Inspections and Testing, Inc., and Southern California Soils and Testing, Inc.
And I'm sure that's on here, but I'd like the numbers, because otherwise I get, oh, it's right there. It's a matter of digging through the papers at the right time. Okay, so this is, again, item 11, under Administrative Services. Let me see if I can't turn this off. So, I would like to know, is there any other things that anyone else knows that has come before the board? Okay. So we have these two items, a correction, and we have an addition. Do I have a motion that we confirm this agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we confirm this agenda as amended. So I'm going to call for the vote. And Mary Jane, this is where it becomes complicated because you're not present. So I will actually make each one of these, or I'll ask Dr. Kinnaman to make each one of these a roll call vote. Dr. Kinnaman, please.
Trustee Sanchez.
Present.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye. I hear that is 4 ayes. And the agenda stands as amended. So from here we go into a closed session. Our closed session, as listed on our posted agenda, we will be returning, as I'm looking, at 10:30. So thank you so much.
You would cry too if it happened to you. Oh, it's my party.
Reports. Our first report is ASCOD. Anyone from ASCOD here today? No, maybe they'll come later, so. CSEA.
Excuse me, the clock needs changed.
California School Employees Association and its Chapter 407, CSEA, has serious concerns about the district's commitment to recognizing the rights of the union and to meeting its obligation to bargain in good faith with CSEA in accordance with the ERA. Last year, the district and CSEA settled a PERB complaint by agreeing that the district will provide copies of proposed service contracts to CSEA before the contracts are implemented, and that the district will bargain any proposed changes to hours, wages, and terms and conditions of employment to CSEA positions prior to implementation of any changes. In May of last year, CSEA sent a letter to the district providing standing notice of the union's demand to bargain issues within the scope of bargaining associated with the district's reorganization, including reallocations, promotions, out-of-class assignments, reassignments, transfers, effects of layoff, and the addition or deletion of job duties. The district replied that it, quote, fully intends to comply with all of its obligations under the ERA, end quote. In September, CSEA provided notice to the district that the chapter president had not been receiving the 5-day notices regarding proposed service contracts, and in December, the district and CSEA reached an agreement on the procedure to be used to remedy this. It was agreed that employment agreements of all non-instructional and non-administrative employees, including substitutes, short-term employees, contractors, professional service agreements, and others, will be provided to the designated representative of CSEA by the HR Executive Director a minimum of 5 working days prior to effective date of services or of taking the proposed agreements to the board for approval, whichever occurs first. At that meeting, Dr. Kinnaman personally expressed a sincere commitment to enforcing compliance by all of the district's administrators regarding this procedure. His memo to this effect, promised at this meeting, was not sent to administrators, however, until May 7th, 2014. Despite the May 7th memo, CSEA did not receive notice regarding the recent employment of substitutes prior to their start date. In March of this year, in a negotiated MOU, the district agreed to negotiate with CSEA any workload reorganization, vacancies, transfer of duties, and proposed reductions of hours resulting from the implementation of the Supplemental Early Retirement Program. On May 28th, several weeks after the district had notice of 10 classified positions becoming vacant, and after several requests by CSEA Chapter President Lauro Jimenez to meet and negotiate regarding the vacancies, CSEA met with the district negotiator Stan Dupre, who was unable to provide any information about the district's intent to fill or reorganize the 10 SERP vacancies. CSEA has reason to believe that the district is, in fact, moving forward regarding which vacancies to fill, but simply refuses to empower its bargaining team to discuss this with us, obliging the district negotiator to engage in surface bargaining. On June 3rd, when asked about vacancies, Dupre again reported that, quote, "no decision has been made," end quote. Please note that by default, a delay in filling the vacancies affects workload and transfer of duties. The next day, CSEA was notified that the Cabinet had made a unilateral decision to reduce a secretary position in hours from 29.5 to 19.5 in direct violation of the April 2003 ULP settlement agreement. Finally, there is the matter of the temporary classified employees. Despite a negotiated agreement memorialized in the September 2012 successor negotiation of the parties' CBA, in which language as it pertains to temporary employees was deleted as it conflicted with Ed Code Section 88003, the district has recently hired 2 people as temporary classified workers. There are no temporary classified employees per the Ed Code or the negotiated CBA. On June 26th, CSEA sent a letter to President Kinnaman documenting this pattern of surface bargaining and the district's casual disregard for the binding agreements between the district and CSEA. Please know that CSEA and its Chapter 407 acknowledge and appreciate the respectful and constructive engagement this administration initially demonstrated with President Jimenez, the 407 leadership, and the 407 membership. We regret the necessity of calling your attention to the disparity between that purported vision and the operational reality at the district. We look forward to hearing from the district regarding the concerns raised in this report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
COD Foundation, Mr. Hummer.
Good morning, all.
Morning, Jim.
Just to this kind of wrapping up the year for us, and we're in the midst of planning next year. So we're hopefully by the next trustee meeting, we'll be able to start unraveling what the next year is going to be. There was kind of an irony that came up in the last month. If you remember correctly, we did the 30-30 campaign to raise $3 million in 30 days. I had no idea it meant that we were going to increase our net assets to $30 million. So the power of 3 was operating all this last fiscal year. We're moving into our audit. We're trying to wrap up all the year-end financials at this point. Our audit begins really a week after next. And as of this morning, our unaudited total revenues, when I talk about total revenues, that means the unrestricted funds, restricted funds, endowments, management fees, interest, the whole enchilada, we basically topped $8 million. So it'll be a little over so this year's been a real good year. And I think that's really about it. If anybody has any questions about the foundation, I'd be more than happy to answer them. But I think we're going to have an exciting next year.
Thank you, Jim, and
Thank you.
thank you for all your hard
Thank
work.
you.
Thank you.
Academic Senate, Douglas sent a note with a report. Is there anyone else that he indicated that no one would be here to speak? But I'm just checking, giving everyone a chance, okay? Faculty Association, Denise sent us a note saying she couldn't be here, but attached her report. College of the Desert Adjunct Association, David sent a note saying that he was in class and there was no report this month. And we're down to COD Alumni Association. Thank you, Jim.
Good morning.
Good morning. The Alumni Association in its June meeting elected new officers. John Solari is the president of the Alumni Association now. Arturo Cia is our new vice president. Larry Salas is continuing on as secretary, and Tony Bagato has picked up the role of treasurer. Outgoing officers, and we lost not only two officers, but they also went off the board. I'm sorry to say, is Ernie Rios and Jim Doyle, who have served us well. And they were honored for the leadership and the years that they have given to the foundation. We hope that they will come back. And we're also looking for new volunteers to serve on our board and on some committees as well. We have 2 openings for new board members. We've not, in the past that I'm aware of, used volunteers, and so that's one of the emphasis that we want to try to farm some future board members by putting them on some committees and working with them. Street fair moved into summer hours, 7 a.m. to 12 noon. The shopping under the shade has been working out real well. This past weekend we had 16 standbys in addition to the 40 or 50 regulars that we have. So shopping is good. Our marketing committee program is going very strong on radio, on television. We'll get our billboard going in September. Palm Springs, Life, a number of different places that we're marketing. The board at its June meeting adopted a budget of about $1.7 million, of which about $3,000 is for some new software to work with alumni, that we can track alumni finally without losing them on an Excel spreadsheet. We're going to replace 2 15-year-old trams with new trams for the street fair. And the audit of the 13-14 finances started today. In fact, the auditor's in this morning at the Alumni Association. I spent 2 days in Palm Springs going from hotel to motel and even the timeshares, checking to make sure they had our brochures and talking with the front desk people and the concierge desk. I found that the big hotels all take part of this one program where they get 500 companies and their brochures, but the little motels and hotels do not. And most of them were very pleased to receive 100 of our brochures that they can hand out to their guests. I'm going to take a city a week and do that. I'm going to take a city a month and invite them to have a city day, a city weekend at the street fair. Bring out their best and finest and show it off, and we'll market that city's participation in the street fair as we celebrate or continue to celebrate our 30th year. The Hall of Fame dinner date is firm. It's Saturday, November 1st. You are all invited. Please put it on your calendar. We will get the invitations out probably late September, I think, but that's the date, and it's going to be at the Rancho Las Palmas Resort, Friday, November 1st, and that's my report. Oh, they extended my contract until the end of the year, so I'll be around for another 6 months. Thank you.
So shopping in the shade sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jim.
Did we get Trustee Sanchez back on the phone? She's on there. Okay, good. Just checking. I wanted to be sure we didn't lose her there. Trustee O'Neill, would you begin the reports?
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be very brief. In your packet of material that was at your seat today, you will find the financial report from the foundation for the year ending, not the year ending, excuse me, for as of 5/31. I would like to draw your attention to the last 2 pages, the front and back of the last page, actually. As I mentioned at the last month's meeting, we had a brainstorming session. Jim leave already? He did. And the foundation board was asked to look at what did the foundation do well last year, what could we do better, and what would we like to accomplish next year. And the results of that survey, that brainstorming session, are here in 2 different formats. And so I think it gives you a good perspective of the foundation's feelings and interests, and I think you will see that they match many of those items that the board has discussed over the last few months. So something for us all to be working on. And that's it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Trustee Sanchez Fulton, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'll be last. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. That sounds good. Trustee Wilson? Yes, thank you. I continue to attend community meetings and events talking about College of the Desert, meeting new people and making new friends. On June 24th, I did attend the Ascot Luncheon meeting, and it's a great opportunity to meet new officers, so thank you. It was a great event. I know the Chair Broughton is going to be talking a little bit more about a meeting that she ended up in Thermal attending, and I helped to kind of set that up. It was a meeting with San Jose Community Center. It's managed by Sister Gabby, and it's a center that does really good work to help students study and to stay on track so that they can eventually come to College of the Desert. So I'm sure you're going to be speaking a little bit more on this. One of the benefits of being so involved in my communities and working for an agency like the Coachella Valley Association of Governments is that you can really participate in an effort to make a difference in the lives of many. As a result of available federal transportation dollars that came to CVAG and a call for projects to public agencies, I'm really excited to tell you about two of the major projects that are being recommended for funding. We know that transportation continues to be a major obstacle for many in eastern Coachella Valley. So one recommendation is for a Coachella Valley van pool pilot program with 70 van pools. Sunline Transit would be the lead agency. It's going to provide for a 3-year startup, and the van pools will be subsidized for a year to build a market for these services. And then it'll be fully funded by passengers, so a very unique program. It's going to initially address the rural areas in eastern Coachella Valley and Imperial County, and then it's going to expand and have some van pools that will be offering other opportunities to target like students, veterans, hospitality, health, and retail and government workers. So very excited about that one. The other one is for a new bus service line directly linking the cities of Desert Hot Springs and Palm Desert. It's going to operate weekday for 3 years to test the service. And Sunline's survey of ridership states that an estimate of 74% of new ridership generated would come from previous single-occupant vehicle trips, which means now that you've reduced congestion and emissions and improving the air quality in the desert. So very excited about that. It's going to reduce travel time from the current route by more than half, with trip time less than 1 hour. So we're very excited about this recommendation that's going to be coming forward. CVAG's Executive Committee will consider these projects along with 14 others at its July 28th meeting. There's been strong approval and recommendations from 2 formal CVAG committees for these projects. So we look forward to the July 28th and moving forward with these projects. And that's all I have. Thank you. Exciting. Student Trustee Campbell?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. On the June 20th, I attended a town hall hosted by Assemblyman Brian Estandi. The focus of the town hall was the future of career technical education in public schools. Many community leaders attended and joined the discussions of how we can incorporate technical careers development in public schools curriculum. Professors from College of the Desert were in attendance as well, and they spoke about our solar program. I look forward to our collaboration with COD and the Coachella Valley's high schools on the CET programs, which is the career and technical education. So I'm excited to hear more about that and how it develops. On the 24th, I also attended our Ascot inauguration, and that's where the Office of Student Life honored and thanked the outgoing AS members and welcomed the 2014 through 15 AS members. I also want to thank all the community, all the leaders, all the College of the Desert leaders who attended to show their support, because you guys are the ones that we look up to and we aspire to be like. You guys are the ones that we're going to go to for critical information regarding graduating and transferring. So thank you guys for attending. On July 16th, I attended a focus group here at COD. The purpose was to improve the experience navigating through our COD website. I was one of 6 students, and I believe the information we provided and the feedback was very beneficial, and I was happy to be part of that focus group. I plan on attending a workshop in August, on August 8th. It's a trustee workshop in San Francisco. It will provide new trustees an introduction to the board, to the college, and the art of trusteeship. The workshop's designed to help student board members become knowledgeable, influential education policymakers. It also provides an opportunity for student trustees to meet other student trustees around the state. All the participants will receive 2 books, a trustee handbook and effective student trustees, and other information as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much. Mary Jane, it's your turn.
Okay. I don't know if you could hear me.
Oh, yes, you're coming through clear. Thank you, though, for checking.
Okay, thank you. So I was such an honor to attend the June Ask God Luncheon on June 24th of their inauguration of our student leaders. I also attended, along with the gentleman from our alumni, our Desert Hot Springs Chamber Star Awards. Very honored to be part of our city. Also attended in July the Desert Hot Springs Oversight Board Committee. And also wanted to mention, attended the town hall that Assemblyman Brian Nastandi covered about college readiness and technical training. That was a wonderful experience, and it was great for our community. Also wanted to mention that on July 24th, I'll be having another town hall, a monthly college readiness chat at the Family Resource Center from 4 to 6. So pretty want to look forward to that and also give to the public. So once again, we're going to be having another college readiness chat on July 24th from 4 to 6. And also wanted to mention that we did another, I forgot to mention this, out in Sky Valley. We did it was the first ever of its kind resource fair for the whole Riverside County, for the communities of Sky Valley. Thank you very much. Wish to be there.
Thank you so much. My report is that I was looking forward to summer because it was going to be such a nice laid-back time, but that has not been the case at all. I have spent some of my time meeting with community members and trying to see the needs of the East Valley from different perspectives. Dr. Kinnaman and I met with a person that's worked within the CV Unified School District for some time. She's also an alumni of College of the Desert, and is a very big supporter of helping those students, steering them toward coming to our college because it's the friendly, natural step for some, and encouraging those that COD's not the right choice for to move on to another choice of future education. She helped us see from both the student and the adult and the administrator perspective what it is that our students need. She reminded us that although it's easy for us to think of students as just those that come immediately out of high school, there are a number of other needs that need to be addressed, and that we have to be sure that we reach out to many needs. That is, as you were saying, Eleanor, there are the certificated needs. There are those educational career training needs that are equally valuable and equally pressing as are our academic needs. So it was a very well-balanced thought. She reminding us again that transportation is a huge issue. It's not that there's no desire for education. It's that life gets in the way, and transportation is a big obstacle. So I'm glad to hear that there are some ways that we can help people get around that. On the other hand, I've had a long discussion with a student about what classes, her inquiry was what classes were offered when and why, and if spring doesn't happen to be a time that's easy for you to go to school and you miss those spring classes, it's really hard to catch them in the fall. And I've talked with Anna, and she says that's definitely on the list of things that we're addressing. So the college community as a whole, I'm sure will embrace that, because it's difficult if your schedule doesn't run just, go to school, go to school, go to school, so you catch the classes as they're offered. It makes it hard. So it is something that we're addressing both for this central campus as well as our other campuses. That clarified to me that sometimes what the student sees as the problem is only the symptom. In this case, it turns out that another problem was that she needs to be able to see her path through school a little more easily and a little more clearly. So I know that, she's very frank. Her counselors have been wonderful, have truly helped her along. But we need to make it more student-friendly so the student can actually go to their own site, their own place on the website, and see what they lack and help themselves. So when they go talk to the counselor, it's not such a shot in the dark. From another direction, I went to the San Jose Community Center, and thank you, Aurora, for setting that up and making those introductions, for a 30-minute conversation, which turned into an hour and a half. You will all be pleased to know that we had a good septic tank discussion about how that worked there. They have a lovely community center, which they did offer to the college if it was be helpful to us to have a community meeting or any other way that it might help us. The students there are basically from the reservation, and although it is open to all students, especially students of CV Unified School District, because that's what's coordinated with. And those students, I went on the last day of school. They were very industriously working on their lessons. It was the last day of school, but they weren't partying. They were finishing up. And a lot of what they were doing were recovery credits. These were students that had fallen behind. They were recovering their credits so they could continue on to finish their high school. The atmosphere, the culture was very positive. They were very encouraged. I'm running out of time. I ask your indulgence so I can finish this long thing. Thank you. I enjoyed the 4th of July celebration here on our football field. It's definitely the best show in town. And that was the really pleasant thing that I did. Right following the 4th of July, that first Monday, is my meeting with the IID, ECAC, which is the Energy Consumers Advisory Committee. How that ties into the College of the Desert is we were there on their agenda. In IID, as all power companies are discovering they have an aging workforce, and that with the huge surprise, they have no qualified workers to fill those positions. So they are partnering with, in our case, our College of the Desert's case, it's starting with with Desert Mirage High School, because we, the college, already have a pathway there. So it's starting there. They're going to work with the Unified School District to integrate some electrical, introduction to electricity classes, and their IID's hope is through College of the Desert and Imperial Valley College. They will provide the beginnings of that foundation to bring people on, to introduce them to that workforce. Those that are interested in pursuing, they will encourage to continue that set of classes, and they are hoping to offer apprenticeships. So to me, living in an area where a job, a good job, a job that there's training and that there's benefits is a big thing, it was exciting news to me. So I brought back the report to Anna, although she indeed had seen the report before, but I wanted her to know how well it was presented to the public and how important the College of the Desert working with that community is, because we do reach out and give an opportunity for jobs. I have to end this on a sad note. There was an unfortunate event in the Mecca area. A young man was shot and died. He was one of our students, and so it is a loss to our community. So my condolences go out to his community. The investigation is ongoing, so I know no more than that. But we are speaking for my fellow trustees and for the college community. My heart goes out to his family and his friends and to that community for the loss, the violent loss of that young man. So I thank you. That concludes my report. I thank you for your indulgence, and we'll move on to our other reports, which are administrative.
Thank you. Madam Chair, if I can postpone my report, there's some information that I'm waiting on that I would like to include in my report. and
Absolutely.
As soon as it comes to me. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
So the next item would be the consent agenda. Oh, did we lose her? Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Great, okay. We are to the consent agenda. Dr. Kinnaman is waiting for some information, and so we're going to have his report a little later in the meeting.
Okay.
The consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda will be considered for approval by a single vote without discussion. Any board member may request that an item be pulled from the consent agenda to be discussed and considered separately in the action agenda. I need to remind you that there were two changes. One was a correction to the wording. There's a correction to consent. Human Resources Item 2, Employment Group A appointments. The two faculty positions are restricted funding. We also added an item 11, to that consent agenda. So do I have a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented?
Pool first.
We need a motion first, I think.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. I would like to pull that item that we added, the Administrative Services, item number 11. I do not see that I have a problem with it. I just would like an opportunity to discuss it. So I would like to pull that. Does anyone else have something they'd like to pull?
I would like to pull item number C6 under Administrative Services Budget Transfers. And I would like just to make a comment on C4 of thanking the City of Palm Springs for their donation of 2 police cars to our Public Service Academy. We appreciate their generosity, so we'll thank them.
It's difficult to say thank you enough for people that for their gifts and their gift of time that our community gives us. So we are pulling item C6, and we are pulling item 11 under Administrative Services. Are there any other items to be pulled? So I have a motion and a second that we approve the consent agenda as amended. Okay. So we're ready for the vote, right? Okay. Student trustee, your advisory vote. Yes. Yes, all votes. I will be much more comfortable if all votes are roll call. So, Dr. Kinnaman?
Okay. Advisory vote, Student Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
I hear that as a unanimous vote. Thank you. Action item. Now we're going to the items that were pulled from the consent agenda. Michael, you pulled item
C6.
C6.
Budget transfers.
Would you like to
Like
make a motion since that's yours?
I so move.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Now it's time for discussion. I'm doing something wrong. but I haven't figured out what it is yet. Yes, Dan? No?
I have a new staff.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, what? Okay. The reason I asked for this to be pulled, even though we had some clarification, I wanted to make sure for the public's information. If you look at the backup material, you'll see that under Combined General Fund 10, 200 classified salaries, we decreased and increased that line item by the same amount, and I would like to ask our Vice President to clarify why that is?
Well, I can tell you that this is a manual report that must be extracted, and so information is drawn down and combined. The reason that it is showing up is it moved from one object code to another, but still within the same major object code, so still within the 2000. We inadvertently didn't clear it because there are many transfers that are done. And this is an item that just came out on the report. We should have, we inadvertently didn't clear the item. But it is on the report. It was an actual transfer, but it does not necessarily need to be reported to the board as a transfer between objects. So it went from, I think, a 2120 to a 2121. So it was a very small change, but it had to be made to make sure that we had money in an account to pay a salary, which is always important. So.
Thank you very much.
So as a detail, it was necessary to move it. As the general overall report, it simply remained there and was what I'd consider a typo.
It's
I
needed
mean, not
to be
technically, because technically it had to be stated, but still
correct.
on the
It's
general
not
report.
required by Ed
Right.
Code to be reported and
Right.
approved by the Board of Trustees. So, but it is an actual transfer. It did occur, but it just was within a category.
Thank you so much. So we have that on the table, and I believe we had a motion and a second. Mary Jane, do you wish to speak to this?
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you.
Okay.
So we're ready for the vote?
Okay, advisory vote, Trustee Campbell,
Aye.
Trustee Broughton,
Aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill,
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
I call that a unanimous vote. Thank you so much. The next item we pulled was item number 11, Administrative Services. The title is Assignment Agreement between the Desert Community College District and California Geotechnical Inspection and Testing, Inc. and Southern California Soils and Testing, Inc. It's unusual that I make a motion, but since I pulled it, I'll make a motion that we approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Lisa, would you help us with this one?
I certainly will. This is merely a change in a company name. A company was acquired, and as acquired with a new name, we're required to come back to you and amend our contract. So that is simply, there's no change in term, no change in scope, but when we actually pay the vendor now, we'll be paying a different name. So that is a requirement to come to you for approval. And it was inadvertently left off. Staff, because there was no change in dollar amount, staff didn't believe it needed to be on the report, but it actually does. So we apologize.
We thank you for bringing that to our attention, and since it was brought to our attention after the posted time, then it has to be added to the agenda. But I just wanted it to be clear that it was that addition and not something that was just being slipped in. So,
Is this the shorter new name or the longer new name?
I can't respond to that.
Thank you. Couldn't pass that one up. It was just like,
Trustee Sanchez, do you wish to speak to this?
No, thank you.
So I believe we're ready for the vote.
Advisory vote, Student Trustee Campbell,
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill,
aye.
Trustee Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Broughton,
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you so much. I hear that as a unanimous vote. We're moving further into the action items. The first action item, of course, is those items that we pulled. The next are the Board of Trustees. I am looking for a motion for Resolution 071714-1. Excuse
moved.
board member absence. I have that motion. Do I have a second? Second.
Second.
I have having a motion actually only because I'm nervous about it being on a telecall. I'd like to accept Aurora's actual second, and I wouldn't mind if the minutes reflected that Trustee Sanchez did second it, and we'll put some kind of note that I'm just really being sure that we're following the letter and the intent of the Brown Act. So we have a motion and a second for this. Is there any discussion?
Okay, advisory vote, student trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
I hear that as a unanimous vote. 2015 Board of Trustees meeting dates, the second reading. Do I have a motion
So moved.
and a second?
Second.
Please note that February date was changed. Does that work for everyone? Because it's not the usual Thursday or Friday date that we have. And I thank the board for their indulgence. Mary Jane, do you have any discussion on this?
No.
Okay. Any other discussion? Your body language says no. Okay, so, Joel?
Advisory vote, trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you so much. I hear that as unanimous vote. I would like to interrupt this roll here because I sort of jumped something. I have been reminded that there is a new employee that we would like to introduce, and we like to get to that in a timely manner rather than keep the employee away from work forever. So, Joel, would you move that?
Yes, I would like to ask our Executive Director of HR, Stan, if he would do that privilege.
I will be happy to. Thank you, Dr. Kinnaman. As most of the folks around the table and in the audience know, we've made several terrific hires recently. But given the time of the year, we only have one appearing before us today. Thanks to the good work of Vice President Howell and some limited assistance from the HR office, we are very pleased to announce that Mr. Anthony Strelitz has joined our team as the Interim Director of Maintenance and Operations. It gives me great pleasure to also tell you that Anthony is recently retired from the United States Army, serving in the Army for over 20 years, and his most recent military assignment was Senior Executive Manager, leading a specialist team of civilian and military strategic advisors in Afghanistan. Anthony, we are very pleased to announce you as the newest member of our COD family, and we all welcome you.
Yes, we thank you for your service, and I'm sure that you will find that working here at the college is very similar to your recent experiences.
Well, I look forward to it, and I'm pleased to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Welcome, yes.
And I love the way you made him feel like he was appearing before us. It's like, actually, we're just welcoming you.
Yes, Madam Speaker.
I just wanted him to prepare for the future.
Yes, you'll be sitting there frequently.
I'll bring my flak vest.
Park a tank out.
From right now, everything will be moving smoothly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you very much, Anthony, for coming over.
And I apologize for skipping over that. I was looking at two different pieces of paper, but not the right one at the right moment. Okay, so crew, let's see where we are here. C, Administrative Services. Resolution 071714-2, authorized signatures. This is somewhat like deja vu. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second that we have the authorized signatures. Mary Jane, do you have any discussion here?
No.
Okay. Hearing no discussion, roll call, please.
Yes, advisory vote, trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
I hear that it's a unanimous vote. Thank you so much. Next item is certification of signatures. Do I have a motion to approve the certification of signatures as presented?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Okay.
Mary Jane, any discussion?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Student advisory vote, Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you. Student success and student learning. Approval of the 2014-2015 College of the Desert Catalog. Here, I'll hold it up for the camera. Very nice. So, do I have a motion to approve the 2014-2015 College of the Desert Catalog as presented?
So move.
Second?
There is a motion and a second. Do I have any discussion here at the table?
Yes, Chair,
Yes, Mary Jane.
I'd like to thank the faculty and the staff that put together our beautiful catalog. So thank you very much to all that work very tirelessly on it. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I would like to mention that that the board is consulted as to whether we have any ideas about other ways to present things or things that we think may have been left out in the past. That's sort of a catalog, although it's here on the table and it's our contract with those new students. It's also a work in progress. So ask board members if while you're reading it you see something that would be easier, better, you have a suggestion, feel free to suggest. It's not just something you have an opportunity to suggest between now and, you've got a month. Get on with it. It's an ongoing project, so it may not be in print if something's changed until the next time it's printed, but things do change in that catalog, and we need to be aware of that. I believe each edition becomes easier to read, easier to access, and is more student-friendly and helps them move on toward success. So I'm in no way criticizing. It looks beautiful. It's a great job. But I do want everyone, and that reaches out to the entire college community. Those ideas that you have that make our catalog better, please step up and give them to us. So
I'd like to agree with you that it's much more user-friendly.
Much more
And
user-friendly.
it seems to be smaller, which means that we're doing something better to me. It seems like there's about a couple hundred pages maybe missing, and that's good. So I think we're doing very well. Thank you very much.
Just as a suggestion, I know we had talked about that, Mr. President, but adding the Alert U software application under security and safety
Yeah.
for the next
Very
one.
good suggestion, yes. Advisory vote, student trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
Thank you so much. Approval of the 2014-2015 recruitment plan for the International Education Program. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of this. This is incorporated into our study session of the day as it is the topic, one of the focuses of this meeting. We still have time. Do we have any presentation or any discussion on this? That's what I thought. Okay.
Yes.
So could we have that?
Yes.
Absolutely. I'm really happy to ask Christina Delgado, our Director of International Education Programs, to join us and share a little more information with you about the proposed recruitment plan. I've also asked her to prepare a summary of the impact of the International Education Program on the campus in terms of students, the demographics of those students, the financial impact of those students on both the program and the general fund. And so I'm happy to ask her to come up and join us, and she has some really good information to share with you today.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Really nice.
Mary Jane, we have a PowerPoint that goes with this presentation, so although it's a little confusing to be watching the meeting live and talking to us at the same time, since this isn't part of it where we need to converse, but is instead a presentation, I think you would enjoy watching this part.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about our program and our students. It's always wonderful for us to kind of highlight the good work that we do in our office, my staff, and more importantly, the students that we serve. Basically, international recruitment, of course, is a big part of what we do in our office. And it really is a considered activity. We look at a lot of different things as we move forward in our recruitment plans. First of all, of course, we are focusing on what are and how can we support the revenue generation goals for the college. And in our program, we do have two unique programs, the IEP, which is basically the college enrolled students, and that's approximately 203 students, and the Intensive English Academy, or IEA, which is a not-for-credit program. It's an intensive English school housed here on the campus, and that's approximately anywhere from 30 to 70 students a year. That fluctuates quite dramatically. And so in this first slide, you can see that there is definite financial contribution to the general fund of the district via international student enrollment. And in 12-13, we had about $430,000 of direct profit to the general fund from international enrollment, and that encompasses both of our programs. And in 13-14, that increased to a little over $600,000 of direct profit to the general fund. And so there is definitely a financial benefit to international student enrollment at this college and certainly colleges throughout the U.S. On a more sort of formal level in terms of what does that $600,000 mean, the average cost of a section to hire an adjunct faculty member is about $6,000. And through the enrollment of international students and the tuition that they generate, we can fund about 100 additional sections, specifically through F1 enrollment, that otherwise would not be able to be funded. And that's approximately 30,000 additional seats as a direct result of international student enrollment. So there's certainly direct impact here locally on this campus. But there's also impact here in the Coachella Valley. NAFSA, the Association of International Educators, produces this report annually, and it's an economic impact analysis report. They do it actually throughout the whole United States, but they have it for our district specifically. And certainly international students, when they come here, they're paying rent, they're buying food, they're buying gas, driving cars, going out, and really impacting in a positive way the valleys. So the economic impact for this district in 12-13 was $5.6 million. And the direct and indirect jobs created through international student enrollment here at College of the Desert is about 39 jobs. So that's pretty important in terms of not only are they helping financially our college, but they're also helping our local community. We also want to increase the learning opportunities here at the school, and we do that through increasing the diversity that we have in our program. I always hear from our faculty the impact that international students can have on the discussions and the learning that takes place in the classroom, and that, for me, is what is most important, because it's really important that we are educating our students to be competitive in this global market. And I often hear, for example, from business course instructors, how great it is to have, as they're having a discussion about different economic practices in the world, our students talk and contribute to that. And it really helps our own students who maybe have not been outside of the Valley to get a perspective of this global world that they're going to be competing in. I'm proud to say that our students are excellent academic students and really raise the profile here at the college. Of our 203 international students enrolled this spring, over 50% were either on the Dean's List or the Honor Roll. And that's a fantastic statistic in general, but when you think that these kids are 95%, their first language is not English, 95% have never been in a U.S. educational institution. It's a really commendable achievement, so we're very proud of them. So when we're looking at overseas recruitment, how do we choose our locations and where we're going? Well, certainly we're looking at our own local enrollment trends here at the college. Where are the top sending regions? Are there consistent sending regions? Are there emerging numbers that we're seeing? We also look at national trends of new enrollment trends, consistent enrollment trends, and areas that are consistently financially strong and secure in visa potential. Because remember, our students have to come in on a specific F1 visa that they obtain at the U.S. Embassy abroad. So not all countries have equal opportunities to get the visa easily. And of course, we certainly target cost-effective tours and travel. It is an impact on the office and the program when our staff are gone. So we do need to consider that as we look to choose the tours we will participate in. So some of our local enrollment trends, and again, this is in the report that was submitted to you all. We have seen substantial growth in our Saudi Arabian students in both the college and the English program due to the SOCM Scholarship. And the SOCM Scholarship is the Saudi Arabia Cultural Mission. It's the Saudi Arabian government program that is sponsoring students to come to the United States to study. And you can see the growth that we've had. It's been tremendous from fall 2002, where we had 2 Saudi students, to spring where we had fall 2013 where we had 26, to spring 2014 where we had 59. So the growth is very noted, and I would say we have probably about 90% of our applications for fall are Saudi Arabian students right now. We are seeing slight increases from Japan and Brazil and Canada. Japan has been in about a decade of decline, but we're starting to see a rebound of those numbers. It's a non-traditional student, so these students are not the full 2-year degree-seeking students. They're coming over for shorter terms of study, either semester or year abroad programs, so that does affect our retention numbers, but they are rebounding a bit. Canada, of course, we have natural ties due to the high tourist industry here from the western side of Canada, and we're starting to reap the benefit of that in our own program. And Brazil is growing both because of our athletic programs. They are actually well known in Brazil. Word of mouth. It's very interesting, the students know. And also because there are some government initiatives to increase language learning and STEM study abroad. There is slightly disappointing enrollment from China and Korea. Nationally, those are 2 very strong growth markets for undergraduate programs and associate institutions. We are not necessarily seeing that at this institution, but they are still very viable markets just based on national trends. This is just a comparison. We do look to see sort of how we're growing, what numbers are changing in terms of enrollment. And you can see, of course, the difference between the 2 students in fall 2012 to 26 for Saudi Arabia. As I mentioned, we are seeing a bit of a drop-off in China, which is not the same in other associate institutions. And I think we're going to be doing some different marketing, very specific marketing in that region to set ourselves apart. And then we've also seen some slight increases in other areas, such as France, excuse me, and Taiwan, that are unique for both our Intensive English Academy, because sometimes we have different enrollment patterns for those 2 different programs. This is a graph showing our total enrollment growth over the course of the past, 15 years. And we really have seen relatively steady growth. Some of the dips are directly related to world events. You can see after 9/11, thank you very much, there were some definite drops off in enrollments that were reflected across the nation, actually. And we're starting to see a recoup in our total numbers. Again, this is new student enrollment. You will see a dramatic increase in spring 2014, again, largely because of the Saudi Arabian increases, as well as increases in our Japanese enrollment from our partner in Bukkyo University. They send us a program of students every February, and this year it was 38 students, which was the largest group that we've had in the 4 years that we've been running that program. So there are some definite increases from our partnerships abroad. We also, as I mentioned, look at our national trends, and these are the top sending countries to associate institutions nationwide. Those countries with the asterisks next to them are represented in our programs in terms of strong numbers as well. So we are on target for a lot of our top countries are also represented in associate institutions across the country, but we look at this as well to see if maybe there are some other countries that we should be targeting. Intensive English programs often are different markets than associate programs. You will notice, as an example, number 7, Italy, does not show up for associate students, but is a strong sender for Intensive English Academy programs, and something that we need to look at when we are creating a marketing plan to see where we will go. If we see numbers in our Intensive English program that mirror what is happening nationally, but perhaps not happening for community colleges, we might want to venture out into those new regions as well, because we do want to bring in students just for the Intensive English program as well. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cold, summer cold. So in 13-14, we visited the countries you see there: Brazil, South Korea, Japan, China, and Taiwan. Brazil, we did quite well. And it's always hard to specifically delineate who came directly from that particular trip. However, in the trips that we go on, we visit with educational agents that represent our program even after we're gone. We visit high schools and colleges that, of course, will continue to market our programs as well. And we do university fairs. Oftentimes, with the trips that you do, you won't necessarily see enrollments until the next year or even the year after. So it is hard to specifically delineate which students are coming from a trip. Having said that, in Brazil, we met with 2 educational agencies. They had sent us students periodically in the past, but we saw a definite increase in the number of students they've sent to us since that visit, because that face-to-face meeting is very important. For the educational agents abroad and the high school counselors, there's over 3,000 U.S. institutions that they can choose from. And so it's really important for them to get to know the officials and feel comfortable with that institution to start sending their students to that particular institution. So that's a very good example of how those face-to-face visits can show results in the immediate as well as in the long term. And you'll see the tuition generated per year. That would be the direct revenue that goes to the college and stays at the college based on 1 year of enrollment for those 11 students. South Korea, China, and Japan, we did see small enrollment, again hoping that that will continue on into the new year. Taiwan seems promising. That actual enrollment is coming in this fall, and she was from a brand new agent that we just met and signed an agreement with while we were there. So again, it's really important for those face-to-face meetings. Japan was very good. Again, more interest in non-traditional programs. So all in all, with what we did last year, we anticipate having about $89,000 in terms of revenue generated for the college from that trip alone at this time. Our plan for this upcoming year, for the fall, it includes going to Canada and participating in some university fairs on the western side of Canada. That is predominantly where our international students from that country are coming from. In Brazil, we'll be visiting 3 different cities. It is a U.S. university-sponsored fair, so it'll be a focused fair, and it'll also give us opportunity to meet with schools and agents over there. Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan will be a combination of fairs as well as school visits. We will be going to Japan to visit our sister university, Bukkyo University. We recently renewed the agreement, and so we will hopefully be establishing a more formal kind of renewal of the agreement at that time, and also solidifying the February 2015 program, the 2-week program for their students. So the estimated cost for that fall semester will be about $35,000. In the spring, we will visit the Middle East. Certainly, we do have a lot of Saudi students, but in terms of our diversity aims, the other countries of the Gulf region, we do not see a lot of numbers from, and so we'll really be focusing on those countries so that there's more diversity in that particular region at this school. China, again, is still a very strong market, and one that you really need to keep a very, very consistent presence in. The competition is extremely tough. There are many, many schools recruiting there, but China is the place to be right now for students. It is the biggest market. They have the money, they have the desire to get here, and so it is definitely somewhere to continue to have a presence. Vietnam, we have visited in the past. It is a very strong market, in particular for associate institutions. It was on the agenda for last year, but because of scheduling conflicts, we weren't able to go there, so it's really important to go this year. And you'll see Spain and Italy, and it's marked possible. We're going to look and see. Spain and Italy are very good markets for the Intensive English Academy. Nationally, those are 2 growth markets, and in our own program, we've seen some slight increases. We have it as a possible because we'll see kind of how we are in terms of scheduling and our total enrollment, and then we'll make the decision as we get closer to that program date. And so the spring total will vary depending on if we do that particular recruitment tour from $34,000 to $45,000. So again, to sort of get an idea of what we anticipate making and what we're spending, we kind of do a guesstimate of how many students we think we'll get in the immediate intake that following year, and do the tuition that we anticipate generating from that enrollment versus the cost, and you can see sort of the breakdown of what we hope to make. If we do the Spain and Italy trip, of course, it will affect us a little negatively. Having said that, sometimes you need to invest in order to make money in the future, and you may not see the immediate result, and that is a difficult sometimes concept to translate into the educational world, but it is a reality of the international marketing world. Having said that, the potential growth is about $53,000 after 2 years, and would probably be more. I am very conservative in my estimates because I always want to make sure that the college is well taken care of in our spending. And so that is a brief kind of overview of how we get to our program. You can see it is very considered, and we really do keep the college in mind and the fiscal accountability of our program.
Thank you so much. I see that Michael has a question.
I do. Christine knew I would. Just curious, are all the Saudi students male students, or do we have female students?
Most of them are male. We do have some female students if their spouse or brother is attending the college as well. Okay. I think out of the 59, 55 are male.
Okay. And Brazil in the past was, we had visa issues, as we've talked in the past. Have those subsided? It seems like there's a much better relationship going on.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. About 5 years ago, there were visa problems. That's changed, and now visa issuance is pretty easy over there. The government-sponsored programs, they've sent about, I think, 100,000 students to the U.S. in particular over the course of the 2 years, so it's changed dramatically.
Okay. At one point in our history, we were talking about reverse exchange with Boku at the university. Is that happening, or we negated that possibility?
No, I think it's still on the table. It's a little difficult, again, just because their language of instruction is Japanese, and so that limits a lot of what we can do in terms of sending our students over there. I will say that we do have some very active study abroad opportunities happening with our relationship with Citrus College. And we are sending, I think, 8 students to London this upcoming semester, 2 students who just got a scholarship for that particular study. So there is some study abroad happening here at COD. It would be great if we can have more opportunities for our students. It really does change lives.
No, it does.
Yeah.
And one final question I have. We had used to have a larger Eastern European market, and that's sort of dried up. Is they going to the East Coast like the Europeans, or they're just not coming to this country at all?
No, that was kind of a niche market because of a particular relationship we had with the recruiter so long ago. When that changed, that market sort of dried up. Typically, the Eastern European and the European kids go East Coast because it's closer, just like on the West Coast we get more of the Asian students. We do have a handful, but not that many.
Okay. All right, thank you. Excellent job. Thank you very much.
Eleanor? Aurora?
Some of the cities here in the Coachella Valley have sister cities. Any thought of COD partnering with our cities when they go out and work with their sister cities?
That is definitely something that we need to do more in our office, and something I will definitely put on my agenda to do this year as we try and sort of get into these new markets. But yeah, that's can be very beneficial.
Okay, yeah. And then retention, how many students foreign students return to their countries, and how many stay here? Do we have any numbers on that?
It's really hard to tell. We do have some issues with retention. It is a very mobile market, the international students. And they do move. They will leave because they want to go to a community college that they perceive has a higher transfer rate to the UC system in particular. Or they will go to a college to be near the beach, which I can't change that particular one. But, we do surveys annually to see how we're doing in our office. And by and large, we have very, very positive, almost 90% positive experience, both with our services as well as the college. And often the reason why they will leave is because of location. And so that is something that we continually are kind of having to recoup the numbers because they are a mobile group. I think our retention rates are getting a little bit better. But again, we have students that maybe just wanted to come here for the semester. And so their goal was never to get a full 2-year degree, but was really just to experience a semester abroad. So I don't see that as a failure when they leave. So I need to redefine our survey so we can get a clear idea of the kids that are leaving early. Are they really leaving early, or were they planning on leaving all the time?
Okay. We just seem to put in such an investment with our students, and it would, what an opportunity to take that investment even further.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I will be doing another survey for our, what I call early transfer outs, to see what it is, what the reasons are that they're leaving. So if there are things that we can do, either in our office or at the college, to encourage them to stay, to see what changes, if any, we can make.
Is that what the Japanese students you said are coming in and leave for short terms? What is the intent of that short term? Is it just to get a course, or is it just to experience our educational system?
It's to experience the U.S., maybe to learn some English, but it's really just to experience being in the U.S. And then they'll typically go back to their studies at their home university in their home country.
Okay.
Mary Jane?
Yes. I have a question for her, or maybe a suggestion. Part of the strategic plan, what we did at another college was our students, our best ambassadors. Maybe incorporating what we did is have the students that went through our program and be our best ambassadors. Do we have in place anything for students to be our great ambassadors? Because they've lived it. Thank you.
We try and use our alumni, as we call them, because our alumni for us is not just those that graduated, but just anybody that went through our program. We do have them participate in university fairs with us. We're starting to have them actually do fairs for us in place of us, and also to contact other international students that might be interested. So we are trying to use them in the manner that you're actually speaking of as ambassadors for our program.
Thank you.
Kind of going back to Aurora's thought and seeing other ways that we can reach out. do we reach out to, I know we have a number of high school exchange students here in the Valley. I know that because our Rotary Club often either fully sponsors or partially sponsors a high school exchange student. Those students typically have to go back to their country to finish their high school to be accredited in their country. But many would like to come back. These are children, I say, so you know my age, of means. Or, although the Rotary Club does help them while they're here, it wasn't like they got a totally free trip or that they don't have any support at home. I wonder if we could reach out to those. The entire, Rotaries are districts. I think we lost Mary Jane. The Rotaries are districts, and so it might be that at a RILA or some event, we could reach them as a whole, even if we just gave some kind of brief overview. Maybe if we reached out to the ones that actually are living with families here in the Valley and brought them to the college to let them see that they would not be the only international student. These kids are brave.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I mean, something you always ask a student when you're trying to make them feel welcome is, how'd your parents feel about this? And one of those young ladies says, "Oh, I didn't tell them till it was all set up." And I thought, but the parents were obviously very supportive. But that's brave. These students are brave, and coming for a year of college or 2 years of college would not be out of their thought pattern. But I have to say that from the little interface that I've had with these lovely students that we bring in, international students, they add value to our college that extends beyond money. As you said, it gives us all a chance to have the flavor of their country, of their life. But they don't just leave here. I mean, one student I'm thinking of transferred on, as you say, from our college, got her degree. Actually, I think she got 2 AAs here, and transferred on to the next 2 years. She and Carly became friends, and she was totally appalled at our high school education system that our students are not more serious. And, I see Carly as being really a serious kid, so it tells us that we definitely have a different approach. So those students, your work, bringing those students to this college, having those students matriculate in our community, it's fabulous. Thank you for this report. It showed us a lot. It made us see some things from a different view, reminded us from others. Eleanor, yes?
I did. Is there a certain age group that you guys target the most, or is it like you only look for students who are already in college, or do you guys reach out to high schools as well in these other countries?
Typically, it's high school graduates, so we're looking for the students that have just finished high school. Having said that, we do get older students. We have a gentleman who is 67 studying in our Intensive English Academy right now, so this is kind of a unique area in that because it's a retirement community, a lot of our representatives overseas are more comfortable sending our older students to us because there is that welcoming community. But certainly 95% of our students are immediate high school graduates.
Again, help us with the difference in the Intensive English Academy and our regular program, which we're probably more familiar with. What do we offer as our Intensive Academy?
The Intensive English Academy, it's a not-for-credit program, so it's outside of the college. It's run through our office as well as PACE. And it's an intensive English school that we set up for 2 reasons. Both it generates additional revenue for the college, and we had implemented a TOEFL, or an English requirement for college admission, and we didn't want to lose those students. So it was another way to get the students on our campus, and then eventually they will enroll at the college. Probably about 80 to 85% of the intensive English students do end up in the college. So it was another marketing tool. And the Intensive English Academy is housed over in the South Annex. It's a 30-hour per week program of English study for students. So although it was designed to help college enrollment, we obviously do get students that just want to come to learn English and will return home after 8 weeks or 1 year of study.
Those are lovely digs that we offer those folks that are learning English, but at least they're not distracted from their studies by those charming conditions in those classrooms. Again, it gives, because it's not credit, it gives students a chance to come that maybe don't want to take on the AA part.
Correct.
And perhaps
Correct.
your success rate is high, so perhaps they gain confidence.
They definitely get, and I have to say, even for all of our students, we do get passport pictures when they first arrive as a part of their application, and when they come in orientation, and they're all sitting in this room, actually, and they just have kind of this look of fear, and they're very timid and very shy, and then by the time they graduate or finish their program a year or 2 years later, they are really transformed into very independent and very assertive people, and it's great to see. And we have, I think, the best job on campus. We have so much fun. These kids are really dedicated to studying. They're inquisitive, they're creative, they're very thoughtful and thankful, and it's just a joy. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Trustees, I just can't miss the opportunity. I know that we all know how many outstanding faculty, staff, and leaders we have at this campus, but I can't skip the chance to just share with you that I'm so impressed with Christina's leadership in the International Education Program. As you can see, she's thoughtful, she's inspirational, she's data-driven, and she really has provided outstanding leadership for this program. So I just want to personally say thank you for coming today and sharing with us. International education programs can sometimes be misunderstood.
Yes.
They can sometimes lack the recognition of the fiscal contributions that it makes to campuses. And I think, as you can see, Christina does an outstanding job of, of addressing those concerns.
Yes.
And I just really have appreciated getting to know her.
I believe every one of us has been asked why we let students come and take up the seats that our local taxpayers have paid for. And it's truly a pleasure to be able to say that, au contraire, those students in fact provide seats for our students. And not only do they provide a richer, more diverse population, but also they do provide seats. So we thank you for that information. It's nice to know that the picture you're presenting is a truthful, clear picture of what's actually happening. So,
Thank you.
We're ready.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Appreciate it.
Dr. Kinman, I believe we're ready for the vote to approve the 2014-2015 recruitment plan.
Okay, advisory vote, student trustee Campbell.
Aye.
Trustee O'Neill.
Aye.
Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Broughton.
Aye.
Trustee Sanchez.
Aye.
I hear that as a unanimous vote. We have reached the point on the clock and in our agenda where we can go back to closed session. We will return at 1:30. Dr. Kinnaman, is there any other thing we need to add to this meeting before we adjourn to, not adjourn, before we recess?
Recess.
Recess. That's what I'm asking. No? Okay, so we'll get back to it later. Okay. Thank you so much, and we are recessed to closed session, and we will see you after lunch. Enjoy your lunch.
And now with my loving arms around you, honey, I can...
Calling the meeting back to order. The board took 2 reportable actions during closed session. The first action is the board has directed the president superintendent to provide the public with an update on the MIS FTES issue. That motion was made by Trustee O'Neill and seconded by Trustee Wilson. It was a unanimous vote. Now, are you ready? Okay. The other action that we took was in closed session. A motion was made by Trustee O'Neill and seconded by Trustee Wilson to authorize President Kinnaman to enter into an employment agreement to appoint Sherry Jones as interim dean, School of Communications and Humanities, effective July the 21st 2014 and ending December 31st, 2014, or until filled. The motion carried with 3 members voting in favor, no members voting opposed, so it was a 3-0 vote. Okay. The next item on our agenda is our study session. As you know, we have tried to divide our meetings in such a way so that we can look in depth at various issues during the year. We've chosen which issue to look at which date, trying for it to be the appropriate item of the moment. That we had a lot of information today on the international program because this is the time of the year that we authorize that budget to be implemented. Our other item is the organizational structure, and I'll look at Dr. Kinnaman for that.
Yes, thank you. Earlier in the week, we sent out, or it may have been last week, I sent out an email talking about some positions at the college, and we were really successful, as I've mentioned before, in recruiting 7 outstanding faculty members to join the college. And we have some faculty that have stepped up and are going to be doing some other things to help us this next year. Gary Bergstrom will be serving working with our high school programs as the high school programs coordinator. And Veronica Dot will be our transfer center coordinator, and Maria Hasso, our articulation coordinator. Of course, Leanne has taken a new role in accepting a position working for a somewhat difficult man, Stan Dupre, and so we'll see how that goes and see if she can straighten him out a little bit. We've got Amanda Phillips that's stepping into her role of Director of Counseling. And we have a gentleman on the board agenda today that you approved for Director of Admissions and Records coming from Washington. We're very excited about him as well. Again, thank you to Zarel Becker and Carol Lesquade for serving as interims. The positions that they served as interims in, we advertised those positions and we went through the process, and we're really excited with the finalists that came forward. However, the finalists, after they evaluated things that were going on in their lives, both ended up pulling themselves out of that search. So that left us a little bit challenged. And so one of the things that I want to thank the staff for doing is individuals have agreed to be responsible for certain areas until the fall begins, and we can have dialogue with faculty and others about those positions and moving forward with recruiting and how best, since those 2 positions didn't get filled, for us to move forward. The other thing that was my friends at Chafee, Henry Shannon and them, I've uttered some words under my breath about them because they recruited one of our deans, Tony DeSalvo, and then subsequently offered him a very nice position, and he's accepted that position. So that created an opening in communications. That of course, we struggled with because it's summertime, and we're getting geared up for fall classes. And so what we've been doing is, I know our Executive Vice President Davies has sat down with many faculty, administrative staff in the area, and gotten feedback on how to move forward. And it ranged from, there's a couple people that would have liked to have been expressed interest in being interim. And there were people that expressed that they would like for us to bring somebody in and on a short-term basis and allow for us to go through the recruitment process. And so there were varying perspectives on that. But as we looked at it, we likely will have internal applicants for positions as we move forward. And we want to make sure that we give everybody a fair opportunity when they apply. And also, our faculty in the classroom, it's critical, with our enrollments and everything, not to be necessarily pulling faculty out of the classroom when we're trying to capture this growth that's out there in the state of California right now. And so, but we were fortunate that a colleague from Palo Verde has been serving as the Vice President of Student Services and Academic Affairs. I'm probably getting the title incorrect, but both sides of the house. She's been serving there as an interim Vice President for a couple of years, and it's my pleasure right now to introduce Sherry. So Sherry, you can stand and say hi and say.
Poor Sherry.
I don't know whether you have anything to say as part of my report. Come on.
Microphone.
Please,
Microphone?
please, go ahead.
Okay. I can give her speech. She's happy to not drive up the hill every day.
And I put you on the spot, I'm sorry.
No,
she's not
that's
sorry.
okay. I am so excited. I am also a COD graduate, and I'm just thrilled with the opportunity to be able to come back to this college that started me off on a 20-year career in education and come back and contribute something. So I'm thrilled.
We're happy that you're able to come join us. And we'll be really busy.
I know. I love that too.
Okay.
So do you have any questions for me?
Oh, no, you'll have to put up with us way more than you'd like to.
Oh.
So that's yet to come.
Next month.
Okay, very good, very good.
All right, Sherry,
Thank you.
thank you very much. So, fortunately, we've identified Sherry, and she's going to be working with us on Monday. And so, very critical time for us.
Mm-hmm.
I also have an update on FTES that I'd like to briefly go
President
into.
Kinnaman?
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to know, does she speak other languages? I do not. I just wanted to know in her background in education.
No, she does not.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The on the FTES matter, there's a few things that I'd like to update on. At our last meeting, we had I think it was the last meeting, the budget presentation, where we indicated that the auditors had asked us not to reserve the funds, the $1.7 million, to go back to be paid to the state. And so we did release those funds, and I'm looking at Lisa, so maybe...
Yeah, to clarify, we had booked a liability because there was an amount, it was known, and it was at the time published. So it was an audit exception if we did not book the liability. When you book a liability, you actually recognize an expense, and you reserve the money as a payable. Because this has been going on for such a long time, and the amount is no longer certain, the auditors are recommending that we reverse that booking of the liability. So it's not a known amount, and it is not due and payable within 90 days. So we reverse that entry. We have reserved that amount of money in our fund balance as an assignment. And until the matter is completely cleared, the money would remain as a reserve in the fund balance. Is that?
Okay, great. Thank you. That's what I was trying to say. And then in addition, we are continuing to have dialogue with Chancellor's staff. Dr. Bice continues to do work with us. I'll stress this pro bono work with us on this matter. And we hope to have some sort of resolution within 60 days or so. And so I say that reluctantly since we've been doing this for, I think, 3 years. The other piece of news I'd like to share is I had a conversation with the investigator with the district attorney's office. His name's Dan Stack, and he's with Riverside County DA's office. And he was assigned to the college on this FTES matter. And if you remember when it came out, there was all types of allegations and concerns about this, indicating that this could be criminal and other types of things. His investigation included interviewing people here, former employees, and members of the FICMAT team that visited. The result of the investigation is that after he completed his review, he found that the past president and the staff associated with this, that they had not done anything that was criminal, and to quote him, nothing criminal as a result of our investigation. So, for Jerry Patton and others that were here, I'm glad that they've come to closure on that piece of it as well. And with that, we'll now just focus on the actual FTS portion of it with the Chancellor's office. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
And that removes that cloud. Thank you so much. The next item is the informational item. Is actually board development dates, but at this point, I would like to ask you, Leanne, if you would include Trustee Sanchez's request to be teleconference today, if you would include that with the minutes. I think that's good backup to say that we followed our policy. Okay, thank you so much. The item here is board development dates. Joel?
Yes, we are looking at having the board, I'm not sure what facilitated session, on either August 20th or 21st. And Ed Velo has held those dates so that he would be available on either of those days that you might prefer. And then we'll work on location and everything once we hone in on which day is best for the board.
Okay. Let's look here and then we'll see how it works with Mary Jane.
I like the 20th, Wednesday the 20th.
The 20th looks good.
Mary Jane, are you looking at your calendar?
Yes, I am. I'm right here.
How do you feel about the 20th? It's a Wednesday.
That works. Wednesday works for me.
That works for you? Okay. And August the 20th?
August 20th, yes.
Yes. Then we will set a place and a time that I can make it work. I, once more, say I'm in the middle of harvest season at that point, so I may be come late or go early or whatever, but I will do my very best. And on the other hand, they may not need me at all. So, okay, so let's plan consensus as we're planning on the 20th. We need to remember to email Bonnie and be sure that she can make that work for her, because that date's not been discussed with Bonnie, but I believe we ran those two dates by her at the agenda review, and I don't remember her speaking up and saying that those did not work for her. We still need to be sure about that. We do not need any more closed session. There being no more business, seeing no business on our agenda, are there any objections to adjourning this meeting? There being no objections, we adjourn at 2 o'clock.
Hurry, offers end soon.
Savor the flavors of Mexico at El Torito with the fajitas combo, now just $14.99. Juicy grilled chicken and steak served with tortillas, a cheese enchilada, frijoles, and rice. It's authentic Mexican flavor at a delicious price, just $14.99, only at El Torito.